June 14th, 1995, 11 p.m., Palo Alto, California. A 24-year-old young man sat in a small rented apartment, the blue light of a laptop illuminating his face. Outside, it was a warm California night, but a different kind of storm was brewing inside that room. He had no high-profile job, no guarantees, just an obsession. A hunger unlike that of ordinary people. His name was Elon Musk. And that night, he decided to drop out of the Stanford University PhD program just 2 days after enrolling. The world didn't know then that this act of madness would one day make history. Or perhaps become a lesson.
Elon Musk was born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa. He grew up in a home that had money, but lacked warmth and affection. His father, Elon Musk, was an engineer, technically brilliant, but emotionally distant. In his biography, Walter Isaacson writes that the pain and loneliness Elon experienced during childhood became the fuel that drove much of his life. At school, he was often bullied. Other children mocked him and beat him up. In one incident, he was pushed down a flight of stairs so badly that he had to be hospitalized. But instead of letting that pain break him, Elon buried himself in books. He read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica and spent countless nights immersed in Isaac Asimov's science fiction novels. One idea took deep root in his mind. Humanity must be protected. Humans must become a multi-planetary species. To him, this was not a child. He founded Zip2 in 1995, and in 1999, Compaq acquired it for $307 million. Elon personally received $22 million. Anyone else might have stopped there. Instead, Elon invested that money into X.com, an online payment company that eventually became PayPal. In 2002, eBay bought PayPal for $1.5 billion. Elon's share amounted to $165 million. He was just 30 years old. But Elon didn't stop there, because money was never his goal. 2002. That was the year. Elon laid the foundation for SpaceX, driven by the singular dream of taking humanity to Mars. People laughed. NASA veterans called him crazy, insisting that rocket science wasn't like a Silicon Valley startup. But Elon didn't listen. In 2003, he invested in Tesla Motors, pursuing a vision for electric cars that, at the time, seemed like nothing more than a joke. By 2005, just 2 years later, Elon had poured almost his entire fortune into both companies. He was on the verge of personal bankruptcy. His then-wife, Justine Musk, later revealed in an interview that he would weep at night. Yet every morning, he would wake up with that same passion, that same fire.
Then came 2008, bringing devastation in its wake. The financial crisis shook the entire world. Tesla was running out of funding. SpaceX's first 3 rockets, the Falcon 1, failed one after another. 3 failures. 3 times, tens of millions of dollars went up in smoke. Elon had just enough money left for a 4th launch. One final chance. If the rocket failed again, it would mean the end of SpaceX, the end of Tesla, and the end of Elon Musk. On the night of September 28, 2008, the 4th Falcon 1 launch took place. And this time, the rocket reached orbit. History was made. It was the first privately funded, liquid-fueled rocket to successfully reach orbit. That night, Elon wept. The engineers wept. It wasn't just the success of a rocket, it was the triumph of one man's sheer determination. What followed reads like a movie script. Tesla's Model S arrived, and the automotive industry was shaken to its core. Time magazine considered him for Person of the Year, and his name began to shine on Forbes lists. SpaceX signed contracts with NASA. Elon Musk was no longer just a businessman.
He had become a phenomenon, a real-life Tony Stark. People looked at him and wondered, perhaps this is the man who will save us. By 2021, Elon Musk had become the richest person in the world, boasting a net worth of over $300 billion. Tesla's stock was skyrocketing, and the dream of SpaceX's Starship appeared to be becoming a reality. Starlink, a project to provide internet access to the entire globe via satellites, was already underway. He met with Narendra Modi, and discussions were held about bringing Tesla to India. Elon's empire was poised to expand into the world's largest democracy. But as the saying goes, the higher the flight, the deeper the fall. April 2022. A single tweet, and the world changed. Elon Musk announced that he was buying Twitter for $44 billion. This wasn't just a business deal. It was an explosion of ego. Elon believed that free speech was being killed on Twitter, that the platform was riddled with left-wing bias, and that he was the only one who could fix it. But what followed wasn't a fix. It was a slow-motion disaster. The deal closed in October 2022. Elon walked into Twitter's headquarters carrying a sink. Literally, a sink. It was as if he were saying, "Let that sink in." That was his style. Theatrical, provocative, and always designed to shock the world. But this time, what followed the shock was chaos. From day one, Elon initiated mass layoffs. More than half of the 7,500 employees were let go overnight. Engineers, product managers, trust and safety teams, everyone. An email arrived. If you wanted to stay and be hardcore, you had to sign. Those who refused were immediately fired. Twitter, once the pride of Silicon Valley, had now become a company that was bleeding out. Advertisers began to flee. Apple, Disney, and IBM, one after another, pulled their ads from Twitter. Elon publicly took aim at Apple CEO Tim Cook. Then he apologized. Then he took aim again. This pattern, attack, retreat, attack, was becoming Elon's new identity. Twitter was renamed X. The blue tick system changed. Verification became a paid service. And amidst all this, X's revenue plummeted by more than 50%. The platform Elon had called the digital town square had turned into an arena of controversy. But the actual decline wasn't limited to just Twitter. Tesla, the company that defined Elon, also began to falter. By the end of 2022, Tesla's stock had plummeted by 65%. Investors panicked. Questions began to arise. Had Elon lost focus on Tesla? Was he so consumed by Twitter that he no longer cared about his most valuable company? And it wasn't just Wall Street asking these questions. Tesla's employees were asking them too. Those who had spent years working towards Elon's vision were now uncertain, confused, and feeling betrayed. Then came 2024, and with it, Elon's biggest political gamble, Donald Trump. Elon openly backed Trump in the race to become America's 47th president. He poured over $250 million into Trump's campaign. Trump's posts were constantly boosted on X, day and night. Elon himself attended rallies, even dancing on stage, as if it were all a game. And Trump won. Elon gained new power. He was appointed head of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, tasked with streamlining the U.S. federal government. But this friendship, this alliance, was soon to prove a trap. Under DOGE, Elon initiated mass layoffs of federal employees. Agencies began shutting down. People took to the streets. Protests erupted outside Tesla showrooms in several American cities. Tesla cars were set ablaze. Slogans were raised against Elon. The man who was once a hero, hailed as a visionary, was now viewed as a villain. Relations with Trump soon began to fracture. Elon publicly criticized Trump over a tax bill. Trump retorted, in his signature style, by stating that Elon needed his subsidies and that SpaceX and Tesla would be nothing without government support. That was the moment the world witnessed just how fragile a friendship between two egomaniacs can be, forged in a single tweet and shattered in another. The alliance between Elon and Trump, once seemingly invincible, had now turned into a public drama.
And amidst all this, Grimes, Claire Boucher, the woman who spent years with Elon, who became the mother of his children with unusual names like XAEA12 and Exa Dark Sidereal. Grimes later said in an interview that living with Elon was like living on an alien planet. Beautiful, yet inhospitable. He was a man who simultaneously wanted to save the world, yet failed to understand the people closest to him. This contradiction, that was Elon Musk's greatest tragedy.
2025 arrived, and the numbers began to speak, something no speech by Elon could achieve. Tesla's global sales were falling. The boycott of Tesla in Europe had turned into a movement. In China, companies like BYD were challenging Tesla on its own turf. SpaceX remained technically impressive, yet Elon's public image was so tarnished that every success achieved by the company was overshadowed by controversy. X, which Elon had envisioned as an everything app, was still running at a loss. And Doge, intended to bring government efficiency, had instead created only chaos. Thousands of federal workers lost their jobs, critical services were disrupted, and the American public's anger was directed squarely at Elon.
In his biography, Walter Isaacson wrote something that perhaps encapsulates Elon's entire story in a single line. He wrote that there are two personalities within Elon, one that genuinely wants to save humanity, and another so deeply wounded and damaged since childhood that destroys every relationship, institution, and system simply to prove that he is in control. And this very duality, this internal war, was both Elon's greatest strength and his greatest weakness. Today, in 2026, Elon Musk stands at a point where both paths are visible. On one side lies his legacy, the rockets he built, the electric cars he brought into the mainstream, and the vision that inspired an entire generation. On the other side lies the decline, the choices he made himself, the bridges he burned, and the trust he shattered.
How history will remember him remains undecided. Perhaps as a visionary, someone who could see far into the future, but failed to see the ground beneath his own feet. Or perhaps as a tragedy, the story of a man who had it all: wealth, power, genius, yet could never conquer himself. The journey from that lonely child in Pretoria, pushed down a flight of stairs in his youth, to becoming the world's richest man. And then, the descent from that pinnacle to a place where the world views him with skepticism. This is the story of Elon Musk, a rise that became legendary, and a fall, one he chose for himself.